Greetings, dear friends. Eastwind is with you. Today we will talk about advanced weapons and what the world is talking about so far. It's too early to know, since this weapon is still undergoing the active phase of military testing at testing grounds. And officially there is a few information about it. The seriousness of work in this direction is evidenced by the recent statement of the head of the Tactical Missile Weapons Corporation, Boris Evnosov, namely, about combining the efforts of the military-industrial complex. For example, the Scientific and Production Association of Mechanical Engineering, the Central Aerohydrodynamic Institute, academic institutes, and many other organizations that are conducting several dozen projects only on hypersonic weapons, and not to mention other developments. Let me remind you that Vladimir Putin had a meeting with the working group on the preparation of amendments to the Constitution. He stated that the nuclear status is not eternal. In the future, nuclear weapons may lose their effectiveness. This is exactly what Western pro-systems are aiming for and continue to develop. But after the appearance of hypersonic weapons in Russia, all these attempts and dreams of a global strike were pushed aside. As you know, at the end of December 2019, the 1st Regiment with Avangard Missile Systems went on combat duty. This hypersonic wing unit reset the capabilities of all modern pro-systems. It is also worth noting that statements are increasingly being heard from specialists from the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, who made a forecast about a technological breakthrough in the creation of certain types of Russian weapons. But after the appearance of hypersonic weapons in Russia, all these attempts and dreams of a global strike were pushed aside. As illustrative examples of technological breakthroughs in the military field are called systems and means radar and navigation, new high-energy gunpowder and fuel, promising combat units for ground, naval equipment and aviation, as well as experimental samples of laser, microwave, and hypersonic weapons. Such statements indicate preparation society for the emergence of new technologies. Recently in the Western press you can hear news about new terrible weapons from the Russians. Namely, we are talking about the so-called M-gun, which generates powerful directed electromagnetic impulse. A similar effect is achieved for example, when using nuclear weapons. In this case, the electromagnetic impulse is one of the damaging factors, although not the most dangerous. So what kind of weapon is this, and what are we talking about? Let's try to figure it out. It is known that in Russia, various field tests of electromagnetic weapons. By the way, this was also reported by the advisor to the first deputy head of the radio-electronic technology, concerned Vladimir McKee. According to him, we are talking about so-called ultra-high-frequency guns, which are sources of microwave radiation. They can damage electronics within a certain radius. This type of weapon uses electromagnetic energy, ultra-high-frequency radiation that burns or temporarily disables enemy electronics. In theory, this allows you to create a reliable layer of protection from aviation, cruise missiles, drones, and ground-based weapons. The heart of an electromagnetic weapon is a generator with explosive compression of the magnetic field. In essence, the ammunition delivers equipment to the affected area, which becomes a source of harmful radiation for semiconductors, transistors, boards, and microcircuits. The most vulnerable to electromagnetic radiation are active phased antennas and arrays that are part of radar stations, modern combat aircraft, and ships. Microwave in its characteristics is close to complexes, electronic warfare, and electronic suppression. The impact of electromagnetic radiation is harmful not only for technology, but also for the human body. In addition, under certain conditions, radiation may cause to the detonation of enemy ammunition. The advantages of electromagnetic weapons include reduced accuracy requirements and relative low cost. Electromagnetic radiation, if used correctly, a UHS gun can reset the capabilities of dozens of enemy weapons. Moreover, it does not need serious cover-up measures, since it a priori excludes use by enemies. Modern weapons. One of the first pioneers in the field of electromagnetic weapons, academician Andrei Sakharov, is considered, who back in the 1950s proposed the concept of a non-nuclear bomb, that is, electromagnetic radiation. Serious research and development research in this area began in the USSR back in the 1960s. These developments helped make a breakthrough. Developments and modernization of various electronic equipment, including RLS and electronic warfare and suppression systems. But at that time, scientists from no country were able to create combat-ready samples of electromagnetic weapons to resolve problems with power supplies. In order for a UHS gun to complete its combat mission, it requires an entire power plant. Naturally, this greatly limits the possibilities of its application. For this reason, half a century of attempts to create something combat-ready did not bring results. But, as you know, Russia is famous, great minds. Thus, at the end of the 1990s, domestic specialists were able to develop a 5-ton prototype of an electromagnetic installation, Renez-E, which was placed on the chassis Amazi 543 to 730. This complex could generate electromagnetic centimeter wave pulse with a power of up to 500 megawatts. According to the stated characteristics, Renez burned out equipment at a range of up to 14 kilometers and created interference with electronic circuits at a distance of up to 40 kilometers. To detect targets, the complex was equipped with its own RLS, but at the same time interfaced with other means, air and missile defense. As a result, a number of significant shortcomings still did not allow adopt Renez into service. Firstly, microwave radiation acted depending on the terrain. For example, microwaves did not pass through mountains, rocks, hills. Secondly, it took about 20 minutes. This is too long a period of time in modern times, theater of war. However, the Renez electromagnetic installation became an essential foundation for subsequent developments. So in recent years, the Strategic Missile Forces Destination Receiver remote mine clearing machine, LISPA, a module is installed on the car, UHS radiation, and a broadband electromagnetic pulse generator. This equipment can initiate the detonation of mines at a distance up to 100 meters and disable radio-controlled landmines. Now Concern Radio Electronic Technologies is actively working on the Alabuga system. This project involves a whole range of research. Scientists and designers of the domestic defense industry, complex for the creation of a new type of weapons, including using an electromagnetic pulse. It is known that in 2011-2012 scientists completed a cycle of research, after which the project received the highest classification of secrecy. In this regard, there is now very little information about Alabuga. It is generally accepted among experts that the most important, the direction of the Alabuga project is the creation of electromagnetic ammunition that can burn out electronic equipment of ships, aircraft, tanks, anti-aircraft missile systems, and self-propelled artillery installations. It is also known that under the latest high-frequency complex, a new wing platform is also being actively developed, where the whole point is in the charge, which has no traditional means of destruction in the form of fragments or blast waves. At the same time, the effectiveness of Alabuga, according to many military experts, may be comparable to nuclear blow. If we talk about the Western press, another Russian threat and so on, then you can, for example, see here the following summaries. The brainchild of Kret is capable of disabling all electronic enemy equipment within a radius of several kilometers, neutralize entire armies. The rocket will be carried by drones, striking. Alabuga's power for electronics will be comparable with the explosion of a nuclear bomb, which, among other things, has strong electromagnetic radiation. British newspaper Daily Star is the Kyiv's official commentary on this subject, also interesting. Today we can only say that all these developments, translated into the plane of specific development projects, work on the creation of electromagnetic weapons, for example shells, bombs, missiles carrying a special explosive magnetic generator. To summarize, we can say that today, Today, electromagnetic weapons received a new impetus to development. An enemy gun with lower power can be used as a means of defense against various drones. Electromagnetic blasts are well suited for neutralization of unmanned aircraft, which gains great importance when different countries strive to develop a new generation of unmanned fighters and other remote-controlled types of weapons with a high probability and no promising Russian. Weapons can be integrated on a wide range of platforms, including short-range air defense, fighters, 5th and 4th generations. And in the future, such weapons will be especially useful when used in near space by aircraft designed for flights beyond the atmosphere, such for example as the MiG-41 being developed. Unlike traditional guns or missiles, the weapon has no recoil. It is also known that it was possible to increase the guaranteed destruction of targets up to 10 kilometers. Prototypes of Russian electromagnetic guns. And considering that electromagnetic radiation travels at speed light, then a shot from such a weapon lasts milliseconds, instantly reaching the goal. Tests at testing sites, reported by McKee, may indicate that Russian scientists solved the most important problem which throughout has held back the improvement of electromagnetic technology for decades. Weapons, namely, it was possible to develop compact sources of electricity for electromagnetic weapons. This progress, in my opinion, was made possible thanks to the emergence of a miniature nuclear reactor, which Russian intercontinental cruise aircraft are now equipped. Global range missiles, Berevisnik. All this opens up enormous scope already, not only for the military sphere, but also for the civilian one. And given achievements in hypersonic and combat laser, now we can really say that Russia has become a leader on the development of weapons based on new physical principles. That's all, guys. Eastwind was with you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Good luck.